Fuck, stupid. She's got a fuck. David, 99.
What happens when a Karen pulls a gun and meets the cops? These intense standoffs lead to dramatic takedowns. How did the police handle these high-stakes situations to keep everyone safe? Let's find out. Number 5. This incident occurred on April 17th, 2024, when Ohio officers responded to a call about a man threatening children with a gun. The suspect, 47-year-old Ronnie Moore, was seen driving a red Ford Fusion with a female passenger. Officers quickly located the vehicle and surrounded it. As they approached, they ordered "get out of the vehicle," but Moore resisted, arguing that he'd done nothing wrong. Despite repeated commands to exit the vehicle, he refused, insisting on speaking to a supervisor and denying any wrongdoing. Do you think he was trying to buy time or genuinely confused? The situation escalated, with officers threatening to use force. Moore claimed the children had thrown something at his car, prompting him to stop and yell at them. Despite his protests, officers informed him that he was being detained for menacing with a firearm. The situation got intense as Moore continued to argue, refusing to comply and insisting that he hadn't broken any laws. After a prolonged standoff, officers warned Moore of the consequences of not coming operating, including being shot with beanbags. That must have been a last resort for them. Moore remained defiant, stating his right to open carry. Officers explained that he was under investigation and needed to follow their commands. Finally, as more officers arrived, the situation reached a critical point. Moore reluctantly agreed to turn off his car and place the keys outside. However, he still resisted getting out, leading officers to physically remove him. He was charged with obstructing official business and aggravated menacing. The female passenger also resisted arrest, resulting in officers using pepper spray. Despite his claims of innocence and requests for a supervisor, Moore was taken into custody. In court, Moore pleaded not guilty to the charges and requested a pre-trial, with his bond set at $25,000. Later, both suspects were transported to jail. The male suspect was charged with obstructing official business and aggravated menacing. Number 4. Have you heard about a routine police call that turned into a shootout? The next incident unfolded on July 8th, 2020, in Arizona, when a woman took her entitlement to a dangerous level by pulling a gun on cops. At 7 a.m, a 911 call dispatched officers to a residence where a man reported his roommate had fired a gun after he rejected her from their shared space. Police armed quickly and found the woman in a nearby parking lot. They asked if she had a firearm, for which she responded angrily, telling the officers to stay away and denying the accusations, blaming the caller's girlfriend instead. Sounds like she was already defensive and on edge. She claimed to have evidence on her phone, but failed to show any proof when asked. As the officers continued to question her, she grew more agitated. After a tense standoff, she reluctantly handed over a bag. The search revealed ammunition, marijuana, and other illegal drugs. When she was confronted with the evidence, the situation escalated. When officers found bullets, they asked, "What are these bullets for?" She didn't respond directly and became increasingly hostile. As officers moved to arrest her, she violently resisted and suddenly removed a hidden handgun. She fired at the officers, narrowly missing them. The officers returned fire, striking her twice and bringing her to the ground. Officers provided first aid until Phoenix Fire Department personnel arrived and took over. She was transported to a hospital in critical condition, but survived her injuries. Thankfully, no officers or bystanders were injured during the incident. Number 3. Ever encountered a traffic stop that escalated into a wild chain of events? The next incident occurred when an off-duty Florida Fish and Wildlife officer was called down by a construction worker about a woman named Natasha. Natasha was driving slowly and stopping to ask workers to honk their horns, creating a hazard scene on the busy highway. The officer pulled her over and explained that she was posing a risk by her actions and slow speed. It sounds incredibly dangerous. When questioned, Natasha admitted that she was headed to a Tampa adult club to escape a landlord's harassment after refusing his advances. She expressed strong views on men and explained the stress she was under. Despite her denials, officers noticed signs of impairment like glossy eyes and erratic behaviour. They asked her to take a field sobriety test, but she refused, leading to a more stressful situation. As the officers continued to question her, Natasha pulled a knife from a bag. The officer quickly intervened, disarming her and bringing her to the ground. Even after being cuffed, she continued to rage, throwing tantrums and attempting to bite the officers. Sounds like she was really out of control. Claiming the knife was for protection, Natasha insisted that she'd never used drugs or smoked cigarettes. Despite her protests, officers arrested her for DUI and resisting arrest. She continued to argue, denying any wrongdoing and accusing the officers of lying. Eventually, Natasha submitted to a urine test, while still claiming innocence. But later, she was booked into Pinellas County Jail for resisting arrest with violence and DUI, and she received charges for reckless moped driving. Number 2. Have you ever thought about the split-second decisions that officers have to make during routine calls which turn dangerous? The next incident occurred on April the 11th, 2020. A routine 911 call took a deadly turn when Officer Ming responded to a residence. As she approached the front door and knocked, the unexpected happened. Liam Mary Barker, a 29-year-old lady, suddenly burst through the door and attacked Officer Ming with a large kitchen knife. Barker struck Ming's arm, but thanks to her instincts and training, Ming swiftly retreated, creating distance before drawing a firearm and calling a backup. Her quick thinking likely saved her life. Amid the chaos, she repeatedly commanded Barker to drop the knife. Eventually, she soon grabbed the knife again. Officer Ming fired warning shots, but Barker charged at the arriving officers, who then fired, bringing her down. Even after being subdued, Barker resisted arrest, refusing to drop the knife and crawling towards the officers. This forced them to call for additional backup and divert traffic and to handle the situation. Despite their efforts, Barker continued resisting and attacked the officers again, prompting officers to use a taser. Barker was eventually transported to the hospital, but died due to her injuries. Such a tragic ending to a horrific event. Number 1. From a simple traffic disagreement to gunfire, the next incident was frightening and tragic. The incident began when a road rage nearly turned disastrous, when a pickup truck driver engaged in an argument with another car in traffic. Without warning, he pulled out a gun and began shooting at the other vehicle, which had 2 men and 2 small children inside. Pull out a gun over a traffic argument? That's terrifying. The police quickly arrived at the scene and inquired about the suspect. During the investigation, they questioned him about the incident. The suspect claimed that he didn't know why he'd shoot at someone, and he didn't know. Later, he insisted he was just going to see a friend who'd flown him from Colorado, and denied any intent to harm anyone. Soon after, he also mentioned that he often went to the shooting range and always had bullet casings in his car, which he used to explain the presence of casings found in the vehicle. The victims, however, provided a different account. They described how the pickup truck driver had cut them off in traffic and then fired 2 shots without any second thoughts. They followed the truck and called the police, who later found visible bullet holes in the car. The victim's story was further supported by the discovery of a bullet casing in the suspect's pickup truck. The fear those poor kids must have felt is heartbreaking. The suspect initially denied the shooting, but eventually admitted that he had fired his gun. He claimed that he saw the other driver reaching for something and felt threatened, so he shot twice to defend himself. He emphasized that he didn't know what the other driver was reaching for and didn't wait to find out. The police verified that there were no weapons found in the victim's car to clarify the suspect's claim of self-defense. They also interviewed the children who were in the car, who confirmed the victim's account of the incident. With the evidence of bullet holes in the victim's car, the bullet casings in the suspect's truck, and the matching stories from the victims and the children, the police arrested the suspect. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, discharging a gun near a public highway, and second-degree cruelty to children. The incident, which began as a simple road rage situation, nearly ended in tragedy due to the suspect's reckless and dangerous actions. The police ensured that the suspect was held accountable for his behaviour, which could have resulted in serious harm to innocent people, including young children. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any video and get notifications on time. Don't hesitate to give suggestions for our videos. See you in the next one.